Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashiva Samharambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Namaskara to all. Welcome everyone to the 5th edition of Global Festival of Oneness 2024. This is a month-long festival on Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavadpada, covering various aspects and topics of Advaita Vedanta. Today's topic is Understanding Illusion from Advaita Vedanta and Other Schools by Dr. J. Suryanarayana ji. Welcome, Suryanarayana ji. Let me introduce the speaker to you. Dr. Suryanarayana ji is a researcher and educator who is working to develop future masters by training people who will take the Shastric perspective to the next level. He strongly believes that the need of the hour is to liberate Shastric content from being confined to merely sacred works to become manuals for problem solving. He aims to build a Shastric technology. His formal education includes a PhD in Tarka Shastra from KSU Bangalore, Navya Shiromani MA in Navya Nyaya from University of Madras, Chennai, and an MA Sanskrit from Sri Venkateshwara Vedic University, Tirupati, to name a few. He is currently working as a senior project manager at Siddhanta Knowledge Foundation, Chennai, and as a faculty in MIT Institutes for Indic Knowledge Studies, Pune. With that introduction, over to you, sir.
Namaskar. Om Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivaranam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vigno Pashantaye Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Namaskar. Welcome everyone. Today I wanted to talk about illusion according to Advaita Vedanta and other schools also. Firstly, I have to remember my gurus. I thank Indica for giving me this opportunity, and I am always eager to present with Indica's viewers also. So today I will be talking about illusion. So first of all, we will discuss what is the role of illusion in Vedanta. What is its importance? So we all know that the baseline in Vedanta is Jaganmithya Brahma Sattvam, in the Advaita Vedanta to be precise. So after discussing the background and the role of illusion, we shall move on to the illusion process. How does illusion take place according to Vedanta? So what is its definition? What is illusion? What is the process? How can we demonstrate? What are the examples? All these things we shall discuss. And after that, we shall also see what is the thought of other schools like Nyaya and Mimamsa on this particular concept. So now we shall dive into the first part, the role of illusion in Vedanta. So whenever we think about illusion, we have to keep certain terms in our mind. Like in Sanskritam, we have many words which relate to this concept. Like we have mithya, okay, mithya, brahmaha, ayathartha jnanam, aprama, ayathartha anubhava. There are many things, many such terms which actually relate to one concept which can be taken as illusion. So first of all, we shall understand the role of a darshana, because Vedanta is also one such school. So the etymology of darshana is drishyate anena iti darshana. So we are perceiving something from this lens. That is the literal meaning of darshan. When we are understanding a particular instance or a function or an element, an object, anything from one particular thought model, then that thought model or that background knowledge is called as darshana. So we have many darshanas which originated in this sacred country, Bharat. So in those darshanas, we have Astika and Nastika also. Astika darshanas are those who have Vedas as authority, and Nastika are those which do not take Vedas as authority. So in Astika darshana parampara also we have many darshanas. In Vedanta itself we have around 11 to 12 types, but I am not going into all those types, but popularly there are 6 darshanas. These are called as Shad darshanas, 6 darshanas. So Vaisheshika and Nyaya and Vaisheshika are such darshanas which perceive this world as a materialistic entity. Their thought process is materialism centric thought process. Even though they are Astika darshanas, they take Vedas as authority. They agree upon Swarga. They agree upon Moksha. But even though they perceive, they understand this world as a material, a group of material. Okay, so that is why we can take Vaisheshika and Nyaya as a materialistic darshanas. Then we have Yoga and Sankhya. So both of them perceive in similar way. Like they perceive this world in a subtler way than Vaisheshika and Nyaya. Vaisheshika and Nyaya are mostly how we understand this world. We think that there is a laptop in front of me, there is a camera which is capturing me. So we see that this world is a relationship between different entities. But in Yoga and Sankhya, they view the same world in a different way, in a subtler way. They talk about gunas. They talk about chitta bhumis, chitta vrittis, personalities. What is enabling this particular kind of a person to behave like this? Okay, why this particular object is like this? So they go into the depth a little bit. They not only see the peripheral material, but also they go inside and they try to analyze. So that is yoga. And then we have Vedanta and Mimamsa. So both of these have deep roots in the Vedas. So Mimamsa is deeply connected with the Karmakanda part, the first part, the Purva. That is why it is called as Purva Mimamsa. And then we have the Veda Anta. So Vedasya Antaha Vedantaha, Vedasara. So the essence of Veda. So generally, the essence of anything is obtained at the end of it, end of one process or function or anything. For example, to drink any juice, you need to process. You need to take a fruit, you need to cut it, you need to squeeze it, then you get the essence. In the same way, you need to process the Vedas to get the Sara or the Rasa of the Veda. So that Rasa or the Sara, the essence of Veda, is called as Vedanta. And mostly it is also called as Uttara Mimamsa because it is related to the last part of Vedas, mostly. Okay. So today's talk will be on illusion according to Vedanta. Okay. So illusion can be one very important concept which anchors the principles of Advaita Vedanta. Without understanding the concept of mithya or illusion or Brahma, you cannot actually understand the essence of Advaita Vedanta. So to actually get a taste of that concept, we need to go through certain transactional, interactions also. For example, what am I doing right now? I am discussing the concept called illusion. So this is the simplest way of telling what I am doing right now. I am discussing illusion, the concept called illusion. In this phrase or in this vyavahara, we say, when we observe, there are at least three entities. Number one, I, the experiencer, or the karta, we can say, or the anubhokta, the person who is experiencing, or the person who is discussing, okay, the person who is responding. So everyone is the same I. So the first entity is I, myself. And the second entity is the concept of illusion. I am discussing the concept called illusion. So illusion is the second concept. And there is another part here is the discussion itself. Discussion is also an entity. Discussion involves other people, like the listeners, like the other experiencers who understand this concept. So there are three entities here: myself, the concept called illusion, and the discussion on this concept illusion. But when we see this from a Vedantic perspective, like neha nanasti kinchana, na iha nana asti kinchana. Iha means here, in this area, or in this, arena, in this field of understanding. Here, nana is diversity, or multiple domains, or multiple entities. That can be nana. Na iha nana asti. So it is negating diversity. It is negating multiple entities in this arena. So this is one profound principle of Advaita Vedanta. Na iha nana asti kinchana. It is taken from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is part of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So just now, when I was actually explaining what we are doing, in that small explanation itself, I am discussing illusion. In this phrase, we found that there are at least three entities: myself, illusion, and discussion. And the Advaita Vedanta says that there are no multiple entities. Na iha nana asti. So how can a novice learner or a beginner can understand this? We cannot understand this until we further delve into the concept. Okay, so we'll slowly go there. So if neha nanasti kinchana is true, then there should be only one entity everywhere. So it is negating multiple entities at a time. So it should be I, and I, or discussion, and discussion, or illusion, and illusion. But when I use these phrases, I, or discussion, or illusion, we are not going to understand anything, because we use language to communicate our experiences, to communicate our memories, to communicate some instructions. When I use such a language where there are no multiple entities, nobody will understand. There is no transactional world without multiple entities. Then how should I understand these fundamental principles of Advaita Vedanta? That is the question. And further, Vedanta says that Jagan Mithya Brahma Satyam. Jagan Mithya Brahma Satyam. Jagat is a word which is representing this world. Mithya is illusion. The world, the transactional world about which we were just talking. In the transactional world, there are multiple entities. Okay. For example, I am using a laptop and a camera to interact with you all. So in this interaction also, there are multiple entities which are involved. We need internet connection. We need a light. We need an attentive audience. We need many different entities to actually interact, to converse, to understand, to function. So that Jagat, that multi-dimensional Jagat or multi-entity Jagat, the place where we need multiple entities is Mithya, is not real, but Brahma Satyam. Brahma, the creator or the entity which is omnipresent, which is everywhere, who doesn't need sensory organs or mind, manas, to perceive, to understand, to know, to cognize. He is called as Brahman, one who created, one who is maintaining, and one who will be the location where every creation is submerged into. He is called as Parabrahma. He or she, that entity is called as Parabrahma. He is the Brahman. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayantyabhisamvishanti ti. So from this Taittiriya Upanishad, we'll understand the definition of Brahma also. So according to this principle, the transactional world is mithya or not real, but the omnipresent Brahman is the only truth. Again, we can't understand while we are transacting. For example, I am conversing and you are listening. While this is happening, how can I say that this is not true? So what is the real essence of Jagat being mithya? How can I understand? How should a beginner understand? And one interesting thing here is the etymology of the word Jagat. Why Vedanta is saying that this world is not real because it is Jagat. The etymology is Jam Muhu Gachati iti Jagat. One which changes every second. Every time this world is changing. So, one which is changing every time. In every moment it is changing. How can I take that it is the real truth? It is the reality. So, they are suggesting, according to this philosophy, Vedanta, they are suggesting an inherent current or inherent energy, inherent element, which is not changing, which is omnipresent, which is the enabler of everything. That is Brahman, and that is the only reality. That is the essence here. But how should I understand the transactional world then? So to answer that question, Vedanta actually divided the satta or the existence into three. The Paramarthika satta, the first layer, the deepest layer actually. Then we have the Vyavaharika satta, and then we have the Pratibhasika satta. The existence is at three layers, three levels. Paramarthika satta is that which doesn't change at all, which is eternal, which is the actual reality. So that is why when Vedanta says that neha nanasti kinchana, there is no multiple entity in this arena or in this field or in this creation, They mean that there is only one omnipresent entity, which is the Paramatma, which is present everywhere, which is inherently present everywhere, which is enabling everything, which is the creator of everything, which is the inherent material of everything. So that is the only thing, only one entity, only one omnipresent thing. Everything else, whatever you are seeing, is not actually present. It is changing. Whatever you are seeing is changing. Then, in a transactional world, sun rises, sun sets, we all live somewhere, we do something to earn money, to live, we do something, we interact with people, we eat things, we digest them, okay, we go to doctors, we interact, we learn. So there are many transactions. So if there is only one entity, which is the only reality, then how can I understand all these transactions happening? How should I understand? How will this vyavahara happen? Vyavahara is actually transaction or interaction. So how should I understand? So then they created the second type of existence as Vyavaharika Satta. Vyavaharika Satta is that kind of an existence where the experiencer or ourselves, we all are called as jivas in this thought model. When the jiva is not yet matured, who has not yet attained the ultimate reality, who did not realize that he is Paramatma, Tat Tvam Asi. Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam is related to Jiva, Tat is related to the Paramatma, and Asi is the word which is affirming it. So you are that. So this experiencer or this Jiva has not yet achieved that maturity to realize that I am everywhere. I am everything. I am inherently the entity who is present everywhere. He has not yet achieved that maturity. Then he is called as samsari. One who understood and experiencing that state of mind, state of understanding, or that state, then he is called as mukta. So for a samsari, like people like us who are interacting, who observe multiple entities everywhere, so for them, the vyavaharika satta, the existence, the interactional existence, the transactional existence is there. Today's talk, we are mainly focusing on illusion. So that illusion is the third part, the third thing which is called pratibhasika satta. Again, pratibhasa is also illusion. What is illusion? When you are perceiving something which does not exist in reality, then it is called as illusion. So, in that state also, there is some existence of entities, different entities. So, they have also created the third kind, which is called the pratibhasika satta. According to the first kind of understanding, according to the mukta, the person who is elevated, who understands that everything inherently has Paramatma. The Paramatma is omnipresent, and I am that Tattvam Asi, who has realized it. According to him, both these sattas, the Vyavaharika Satta and also the Pratibhasika Satta, is an illusion. There is nothing beyond Paramatma for him. He can perceive, experience Paramatma everywhere. For him, Vyavaharika Satta and Pratibhasika Satta, both of these kinds of objects are illusion. But for us who are still in this transactional world and who feel that this is the reality, for us, Pratibhasika Satta is the only illusion. And today I will be taking more examples to dwell into Pratibhasika. So, I want to give an analogy about the higher level of truth. So by seeing this division, we can understand that truth is not at only one level. Truth is according to our understanding. Truth, the actual reality don't change, but your perception towards it will be changing every time. We can take an analogy from a discussion between any junior and a senior person in any field. And this picture is depicting an interaction between a young sportsman and a very old person in the same field who is also a sports person. Okay. So when we are very young, very tender, we feel that we have understood the essence sometime. We feel that I am a master in this particular area. But when you are interacting with your senior in the same field, we understand that this person who is a senior to me in this particular field understands the same thing in a different way. This is a very interesting concept which we all experience in our own field. For example, when I was very young, when I just completed the Tenali Pariksha and came out of that Pariksha scheme, then I was feeling that I understand everything and I know how to deal with all the Shastric concepts, and I am the pioneer, and such inhibitions or such delusions were there, such misapprehensions were there when I was very young in this field. But once I interact with my seniors, my gurus, my other peers who are more matured than me, then I understand that what I have experienced till now and what I have achieved, what I know is very little. There is a total new dimension of Shastras. And explaining and simplifying Shastric concepts to general students or general learners, a novice learner, is very difficult. Why? Because unless you understand the higher higher understanding and the essence of a thought, you cannot explain the same thought in a simplified manner to others. That will only happen when you gain experience, when you change, actually. When you leave your previous understanding and when you slowly grow, then only you can actually experience the higher and depth of it, higher understanding of it. So whenever we interact with our seniors, we understand, yes, there is something which I don't understand. There is a depth to it. There is something which I have to learn more. There is more than what I feel is real. So there is something more real to every aspect of learning. Something more real. Even though what I know is not wrong, what I know is not totally wrong, but there is something greater real which I have to know. So that is the kind of sense we get when we are interacting with a senior. So in the same way, Vyavaharika Satta is the beginning level reality, and there is a higher level inherent reality which is captured in the concept of Paramarthika Satta. So when we understand this, then we can understand the core principle of Advaita Vedanta, Neha Nanasti Kinchana. So there is only one unchanged entity, which is the Paramatma. That is the eternal reality. And where I am transacting right now is a lower level of reality. That is what we have to understand. Then, what is my goal according to Vedanta? My goal is to attain moksha. That is the ultimate goal. Moksha is such a state which will not change. And what is that state? Anandatmaka Brahma Avaptihi. when I become one with him, inherently I am him. But when I am in samsara, when I am still having some illusions, when I am still feeling that there are multiple entities in this world and I am interacting with those entities, then I am still in samsara. I am not in moksha. I am not totally one with Ananda. I am not always in bliss state. So, Anandatmaka Brahma Avaptihi is the moksha. So, my goal or any jiva's goal, any practitioner's goal will be attaining that state. So, to attain that state, we need to understand that whatever we are experiencing right now is not totally true. So, when I say that this is not totally true, then I am saying that this is also illusion, a kind of illusion. Then what is illusion? We need to understand that. So we need to understand the process of illusion, means how illusion appears or illusion takes place according to Vedanta. So before we go into that concept, we need to understand the contrasting concept of illusion, which is called as Tattva Jnanam, or the true cognition. The valid true cognition can be called as Tattva Jnanam. What is Tattva Jnanam? How to measure whether that cognition or that knowledge which I am knowing is Tattva Jnanam or not? Then I need to give, I need to understand what is Tattva Jnanam. Okay. So what is Tattva Jnanam? Tattva Jnanam is that whatever I cognize, I understand. When I am realizing it, then the cognition which happened earlier is Tattva Jnana, is valid, is real. For example, I am knowing how to grow plants in a city, in a flat environment. Okay, in a small area, how to grow plants, I am just learning by going through a guide or a book. So I have accumulated some knowledge by going through that particular book. Now, when I actually use that knowledge and practically implement all those steps according to that particular guide, and when I am getting the result, then I validate that whatever I have learned or whatever I have known there is real. So that is Tattva Jnana. That is kind of valid knowledge. It's called as Prama or Yathartha Anubhava. Okay, in the Shastra. In the same way, if I am learning how to make mirchi bhaji by seeing a YouTube channel or a book or a pamphlet or something, I am reading a particular pamphlet and learning how to make mirchi bhaji, and I am going through all those steps, and actually I have made mirchi bhaji and it is very tasty. If it is very tasty, then I endorse that whatever is told in that particular piece of paper is real. Then that is called as Tattva Jnana. So to actually demonstrate truth, the reality and the cognition should be as it is, same. What is reality? Reality is that whatever is actually present, that is called as reality. For example, if there is a table in front of you and there is a big ball on it, on the table, then there are three entities here. Number one, there is a table, there is a ball, and there is a relation, sambandha. We call the sambandha here is samyoga sambandha. So in this particular scenario, there is a relationship called sanyoga between the ball and the table. That is the reality. And I am cognizing as it is. Cognizing means understanding. I am understanding as it is. Means I am understanding that there is a ball on the table. This is the kind of understanding I have. Then the reality is represented in the cognition. When I actually go near the table, I can actually take that ball and play. So then that cognition which arrived, there is a ball on the table, the cognition is real. So this is the definition of truth. Tadvati tat prakaraka anubhavaha yatharthaha. The term given for truth is yathartha. Here we have a prakara. Prakara is nothing but the qualifier, we call it as, or in a simple term, we can take as adjective or an entity which is qualifying the subject. Okay, prakara is that adjective. And what is the tadvati tat prakaraka? Tadvati, we have another entity here. So where is the prakara residing? The prakara is residing in the visheshya. Visheshya is the subject. In the previous cognition, we can take ball as the qualifier and the table as the qualified entity. I am qualifying this particular table as a table which has a ball. So ball is qualifying this table. Okay. So when the prakara or the ball in this particular example is found on the table, actually, when the prakara is actually found in the visheshya, then it is a true cognition. I hope you have understood this. When you see the contradictory or the opposite view of this, then you will understand what is truth. Actually, you just assume that there is a big rock which is round in shape. Okay, a big rock which is almost round in shape is residing on the table, but because of my inhibitions or my preconception or my wish, I am cognizing that there is a ball on the table. This kind of a cognition is not true, because the prakara or the qualifier or the adjective which I am cognizing, which is the ball, is not actually present on the table. In the reality, the table is possessing only a rock. In reality, the table and the rock has the relation, not the ball and the table. But the cognition is different. I am cognizing or I am understanding in a different way. The cause for understanding in such a way is different, is again another topic which we are going to deal today. But I am cognizing that there is a ball on the table. This kind of a cognition is not called as yathartha. It's called as mithya. And the definition here is tadabhavavati tatprakaraka anubhava. Tadabhavavati, where the qualifier is not present. The qualifier here is the ball, and the ball is actually not present on the table. Tadabhavavati tatprakaraka. Tatprakaraka means ball is being cognized in this knowledge. So where the actual entity is not present, but it is being cognized, then it is called as a ayathartha anubhava. Okay. So in both of these situations, it is very strange, and it is the reality that in both of these situations, in the beginning, the cognition is the same. The structure of the cognition is the same. How we understand is same. In a true scenario or in a flawed scenario, both of these places, in both of these scenarios, the situation is the same, the cognition is the same, if it is real or not. How I cognize in the first place is the same. I cognize that there is a ball on the table. So we can only differentiate once we start examining, once we go nearer, once we do the vicharana. That's what Vedanta says. In the first place, even the truth and the false is cognized in the same way. Okay? That is why, while we are in the transactional phase, we cognize that this world is true. Whatever I am interacting with is real. That is the first cognition. But according to the training, according to the Vedantic functions and Vedantic drukpatha, perception, when we do the reasoning, when we actually check mentally, then we'll understand that whatever I am dealing with is not the real entity. There is something inherent to it. This is not only the reality, there is something else. That is the first phase or first level of understanding we all get once we are initiated into it. Okay? So that is the lakshya of Vedanta. So it is instigating, or it is channelizing our energies to think in such a way that whatever we are perceiving right now is not the ultimate reality. There is something beyond. That's what they wanted to say. Now, we'll see what is the process of cognition according to Vedanta. So whenever I see this kind of a scenario, I always remember an analogy told in the Vedanta. So that is why I have depicted the same thing here. This is a very beautiful way of expressing profound concepts in a simple way. In Vedanta, you will get a lot of similarities, lot of scenes, lot of day-to-day objects from where they want to teach the profound concepts told in the Vedanta. Okay, so there is a small phrase in Vedanta Paribhasha. Tatra yatha tadakodakam chidran nirgatya kulyatmana kedaran pravishya tadvadeva chatushkonakarakam bhavati. I will explain this. Tadakodakam is the, udakam means water. Tadakodakam is the water which is flowing in this channel. Okay. Chidran nirgatya. Chidra is that place where you have small holes. Chidram is hole. So the water in the channel is flowing through those small canals or small holes into the paddy fields. And once when it is flowing into the paddy field, it is taking the shape of the paddy field. Previously, it was flowing in one way, in one shape. Once it is entering the paddy field, it is taking the shape of the paddy field. In the same way, our senses, our mind, our manas, okay, it is changing its shape into the form of the object. That is the analogy given here. Tatha taijasam antahkaranamapi chakshuradi-dvara nirgatya ghatadi vishayadesham gatva ghatadi vishayakarena parinamate. In the same way, taijasam antahkaranam. Antahkaranam is a taijasa element. Taijasa is related to tejas, fiery. We can say fiery. It's not burning fire, but it is very agile. Okay. So the manas is related with that taijasa element. It is very agile. It is inside our body. And that manas shakti, manasika shakti is flowing just like the water in this big canal, in this big channel. Okay. It is flowing from small holes, chidrani. The hole is the eye. They are taking the similarity of hole, chidram and eye. Through these chidras, through these eyes and other sensory organs, the manasa shakti is flowing out and it is taking the form of the object, and it is enabling us to cognize the same object which is outside. Cognition always happen inside. So the manasa shakti is going out and perceiving that object and cognizing inside again. Okay, so this is a very beautiful analogy to depict the process of cognition. This is how the actual cognition happens. Then how does this illusion take place? What is the process of illusion? What is illusion? What is the main entity in illusion? What is the main enabler of this Brahma? It is called as Ajnanam or Avidya or Maya. This entity has two main functionalities, which is called as Avarana Shakti or Vikshepa Shakti. Avarana is actually covering something. Vikshepa is creating something. So this Ajnana or Avidya or Maya has Avarana Shakti, means obscuring, which is covering something. And it also has another Shakti, which is projection. So we have a very famous Brahma scene in the Vedanta, which is called as Rajju Sarpa Bhranti, which is called as Rajju Sarpa Bhranti. Rajju is a rope. Rajju is a rope. And Sarpa is a snake. Bhranti or Brahma is nothing but the illusion. So they take this analogy to prove that whatever you are experiencing right now, whatever the world you are experiencing, it is just like you cognize a snake, but it is actually a rope. So the reality is Parabrahma, and what you are cognizing is a world. You are cognizing different entities, but the reality is Brahman. That's what they want us to go. So they are taking this as an example, showing this as an example so that we could understand that better. So just assume that there is a dark place and the light is not adequate and it is shady. The person who is experiencing is a very frightened person who is fearsome. He has a fear of snake, just assume. So if such a person sees a very fat rope in the corner of a room, he might be perceiving that to be a snake. That kind of a perception will be, this is a snake. Here, this is a snake. This cognition is an illusion. So actually it is a rope. Because that person do not know that it is a rope, do not know the absence of knowledge of a rope, the ajnana of a rope is creating a new entity called a sarpa or a snake. This snake is not real. It's a created entity. That is why we take the term pratibhasika satta. The snake is a pratibhasa. The pratibhasika snake is emerging. It is now taking its shape. This analogy is used in the Jagat also. Jagat is only taking the shape because you are not knowing Parabrahman everywhere. Because of your ajnana of Parabrahma, you are perceiving different entities. If you would have known Parabrahma, you will not perceive different entities in this world. Just like if I would know that this is a rope, I would not perceive this rope as a snake. Then there is no space for a new entity to emerge. There is only one entity, that is rope. So there our acharyas want us to lead. Okay, so there is a very beautiful explanation about this. Sarpatva prakaraka avidya, the ignorance of sarpa, which means that he is not knowing that entity to be a rope. Okay, sarpatva prakaraka avidya chanchalatvadi sadrishya samudbodhita. See, just like sarpa has curves, this rope also has some curves. Okay, so there should be some similarity between the reality and the illusion. If there are no similarities, why should I actually cognize that to be a sarpa? I can cognize that to be another thing also. So that is why there should be some similarity. Evameva sarpa samskara sahita. I should also have a memory of sarpa. If a person do not know how a sarpa looks like, then he cannot have an illusion of sarpa. In the same way, a person who is actually experiencing in this world should also have a samskara or a memory of this world. Otherwise, he cannot have a brahma about this world, about this jagat. Kaschana dosha samavahita. There should be some dosha also. The dosha is nothing but the ajnana. If you don't have the ajnana, this will not manifest. Okay, only because of ajnana, a rope is manifested in the form of a sarpa. In the same way, only because of ajnana, Paramatma is manifested or Paramatma is seen or perceived in the form of this world. Okay, sarpa rupa arthakarena, sarpa jnana bhasa akarena cha parinamate. So the same thing, as I have told you, the ajnana have two different functions or shakti, the avarana shakti and the vikshepa shakti. The ignorance of rope, related to rope, is actually covering the rope not to be known, and also that ignorance is projecting the rope to be a snake. In the same way, the ignorance about the Parabrahma, the ignorance we all have, is actually covering Paramatma. It is not letting us to know the actual essence or the actual construct of Paramatma. It's not enabling us to experience Paramatma, and it is also projecting Paramatma in a different way. It is projecting that he is Suryanarayana, he is Nitin Sridhar, he is so and so, he is X, he is Y. He is projecting in, that is projecting in such a way. So, so this is the brief understanding of illusion according to Vedanta. So illusion is having twofold functions, avaranam and vikshepa. How should I break this? When you know the reality, when you inquire, when you do the vicharana, then the reality surely exposes itself. You will slowly understand the reality. Then slowly the sarpa fades away. Slowly the jagat fades away. There is only one Paramatma at the end. Now we'll try to understand how this process is explained in other schools. Okay, so in other schools, I am only taking Nyaya and Mimamsa. I am not taking all the other schools, but I am only taking Nyaya and Mimamsa. So in Nyaya, what is sensory perception? It is called as pratyaksha, pratyaksham. So the definition given to pratyaksham is indriyartha sannikarshotpannam jnanam pratyaksham. Indriya is senses, artha is the object, sannikarsha is the relationship. Because of the relationship between the senses and the object, one understanding or one knowledge emerges, and that knowledge is called as pratyaksha. Why am I talking about this? Because the same illusion is dealt in a different way in Nyaya perspective. Okay, what they say in Vedanta, what they are saying in Vedanta, because of ajnana, a new sarpa is emerging, which is a pratibhasika sarpa, which is a created sarpa. Illusionary sarpa is created. Oh, and that illusionary sarpa is now cognized. But here, the Nyaya perspective is different. They say that aranye vidyamanasya sarpasya prakoshthe bhanam. See, the person who is having that illusion, who is seeing a rope and who is cognizing that to be a sarpa or a snake, he has the memory of a sarpa, of a snake. He saw a snake in a forest. Once, because of that situation, because of that shady light, because of his manasika sthiti, because of his mental state, he is seeing a long rope, fat rope, and now he's cognizing that to be a sarpa. So he is now remembering the sarpa which he has seen in a forest and correlating that with this object which is in front of us. This kind of a correlation is called as jnana lakshana pratyasatti. Jnana is knowledge, pratyasatti is relation. Now, the relation is jnana itself. He is remembering sarpa. So the actual sarpa, the actual snake is still there in the forest. The snake which is present in the forest is now cognized here in front of him. Okay. So this relationship between the experiencer and the actual snake is called jnana. Jnana is nothing but memory here. So here, Nyaya philosophy is not allowing or is not endorsing pratibhasika creation of a snake. It is only saying that we can use the same snake, the vyavaharika snake, which is actually present in the forest here. So this is the Nyaya perspective. And there is a very interesting analogy. So there is an interesting analogy, similarity shown in Nyaya Shastra, showing a sandalwood. Okay. So just assume that there is a lot of sandalwood inside a jar, a glass jar. It is packed. Even though it is packed, by seeing that sandalwood itself, we would cognize that this has a sweet aroma. This sandalwood has a sweet aroma, even though it is inside the jar. So what are we doing in that particular scenario? We are remembering the quality of that sandalwood. We are not cognizing it right now. We are not experiencing it right now because it is closed. My nose do not have any contact with that smell right now. But even though I am saying that this sandalwood has sweet aroma, because there is some relation between that sweet aroma and what I am cognizing in front of me. That connection is knowledge, is memory, is remembering the sweet aroma of sandalwood. In the same way, when I am seeing a rope in a shady place, I am remembering the snake. Okay. Now there is no need to create a new snake. That's what Nyaya is saying here. They are saying that you can just remember it. When you remember, yes, it will be cognized. I'm not saying that it is true. Okay. But in Mimamsa perspective, for them, there is no illusion at all, because their purpose is different. Vedanta's purpose is different. Vedanta's purpose is to actually elevate our understanding about this world and experience the inherent Paramatma everywhere. That is Vedanta's perspective. Vedanta's perspective is giving us the Anandatmaka Brahma Avapti, the moksha, in such way. But Mimamsa's perspective is not that. Mimamsa's goal is to tell that there is something called Swarga. You can attain Swarga by following the rituals or by following the manual prescribed by Dharma Shastra and other texts. So its purpose is totally different. So for them, there is no illusion at all. Then you might ask that somebody might see a rope and cognize it to be a snake. Then that situation is illusion. How will Mimamsakas explain that situation? Then they have an answer. They say that situation is not of one cognition. They say that it is of two cognitions. One is of that entity which is in front of you. You are cognizing an entity which is in front of you. And the second part is of the snake. You are cognizing snake and you are also cognizing an entity which is in front of you. The only thing you do not know is that both of them are different. Bheda agraha. Ishta bheda agraha is the enabler of this situation for them. Both of them are different cognitions, different knowledges. Both of them are true. Okay. This is a snake. This is the cognition. In this cognition, you have two parts, this and a snake. Okay. Both, now they are dissecting this cognition into two. This is one part and snake's cognition is another part. Both of them are true, because when I am cognizing an entity in front of me, that is real. The cognition of snake is also real. Separately they are real. The only thing I am not knowing right now is both of them are different. I am actually joining two different cognitions and understanding that to be one. Okay, so that is how they defend themselves. Their statement is that there is no cognition which is illusionary. For them, everything is tattva jnana. So this is how different schools see the concept of illusion. And as I have told and explained in the beginning itself, understanding the concept of mithya is very fundamental to understand the core concepts of Vedanta, like neha nanasti kinchana, tattvamasi. These concepts we will only understand once we understand that there are different levels of existence and there is something called pratibhasika satta, and that pratibhasika vastu is created. Then only after understanding the process of illusion, according to the vicharana, we then understand that whatever we are cognizing is not real. There is something inherent to it. Okay, so the Maya is actually covering the reality and it is projecting the reality in another way. I have just depicted the world in this way. Inherently, you have Parabrahma everywhere, but the Maya is enabling Parabrahma to be shown in the way of a Jagat. Okay, once the vicharana starts, once you know what is Maya, what is avidya, what is the source of avidya, how to break avidya, then slowly the vicharana enables us to understand the inherent reality. So I will end this with the Viveka Chudamani shloka. Viveka Chudamani is written by Adi Shankaracharya. So it is Samyak vicharatah siddha rajju tattva vadharana. Samyak vicharatah siddha rajju tattva vadharana. Bhrantyo maha sarpa bhavadukha vinashini. Bhrantyo maha sarpa bhavadukha vinashini, which is depicting that only because of samyak vicharana. Samyak vicharana is training and contemplating continuously. Only that contemplation will enable us to come out from the illusion. Just like when a person is in the illusion of a snake by seeing a rope, he will only come out of that illusion once he go nearer. He uses a brighter light. He has some dhira vakya with him. Then only because of that introspection and search of reality, he will understand that it is not a snake, but it is a rope. So in the same way, Vedanta is guiding us to shed all the darkness and travel towards the light. Namaste.
Thank you, Suryanarayana, for that enchanting talk on illusion by explaining the role of illusion, the process of illusion, and illusion with respect to different schools. The talk was very well complemented by using wonderful and clear visuals. We really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Thank you, viewers, for your participation. Please join us for tomorrow's morning session from 7 to 8 a.m. Can we have the flyer? The topic for tomorrow's morning session is Srishti as per Advaita Siddhanta by Swamini Satyapratananda Ji. Om Sahanau Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Thank you.